Sun, north on the horizon, slowly was fading. The light last sparkles, snow-covered fjords threaded on the hills silver. One mist, like hanging, remained. The sea surface, flood won the mirror. The wind resembles that mirror, with waves tear to pieces again was shaping. In the distance, the fog behind, old one sheep from their chimneys, thin smoke rising. That smoke in the sky pale Einar dance. The village was ordinary. Vanguard was. The north from the wind born, with ice kneaded, won the people homeland. There, cold, much silence, also rules would last. One house in front of the young one man. His name was Einar Thorson. On his shoulder wool one cloak, in hand whereas pass tainted one sword, skilled Heimer. This sword from his father there was no room left, but no one his, which in war that he was beaten, which your enemy to your blood blur, he didn't know. Einar saw him every morning, with stones rub, polishes, then the stove per passing by, iron he would beat them. They would say that, this child iron not, his own your destiny beating. That evening, the sky, unusual, one with silence darkened. Northern lights yet was not born, but in the air one waiting there was, old one the call echo-like. Einar, his house to the door hanging, standing horn the lamp lit. Flame, first language, darkness while breaking shivered. At that very moment, the wind direction changed. From the mountains down descending wind, see the smell of knot, burn, moss, and amber the smell of was carrying. This is the north their souls came, was time. Einar shook his head, raised. Fjorden beyond, one light burning went out. First one star thought, but later difference made. Light, the sea was in. One blueness of water from the depths, breath takes, like rising, then was disappearing. In the village, elderly he called it Havsol, the sea heart. Whoever has that light if he sees, his destiny would change. Einar, his hand your sword to the hilt, he put it there. For a moment it was as if the sword is also breath took. Rusty on the surface, blue one line appeared. That line, North Light's birth. At that moment, Einar inside one sound heard, from outside not, from within. Come north, Einar. Sleep beyond one call there is. The wind at the door on the sill humming inside input. The lamp flame went out. One silence collapsed. Only the sea deep voice remained. Einar, his cloak, his collar he raised, his sword on your back hung on. The stove last embers before it fades out came out. The village stone from the streets while walking. Houses in your windows, one each lights fading away. The night's silence, snow grains with the fall were merging. Fjorden to the edge when the moon comes had risen. The moon, ice-caught waters above, one seal like standing on the horizon, thin one light way Einar was drawing, on that road looked and whispered, the north is me, is calling, and then darkness into my name threw. Behind him, the village, last the lamp also went out. The north, sleep, had begun.
The northern sky was pale, once to blue was buried. On the horizon, snow white of the sea, leaden with its colour, the wind is stirring, as if unseen. One hand like with soil, sky between the line, wipe again. Einar was drawing in. The winters first your breath to your lungs when you sigh, same both at once a shiver and a peace covered. This is the North specific, was the silence of the storm before coming, former deep, heavy tranquility. From his village, since we broke up, fly day passed. Behind everything he left behind, stone hut, fire on the pot, and his mother left behind old wool blanket, now only far one it was a dream. The wind was his behind, howling like a wolf was blowing. Einar was walking, his hands, your sword on the hilt, on the back, from leather one bag. Every step of the way, prophet squeaking, stepping on places, instantly with the wind it was closing, as if nature was closing its traces of to hide wanted. In the distance, in the fog, inside, one shadow appeared. First one rock thought, then difference, it this stone-woven one tower, it was a remnant. When I was a child, I was old, one sailor that towered to him had told, Rune Tower. According to him, this tower of the wind birthplace, who would eat there? If it climbs, he said, old sailor, your destiny, real your name, Einar, here's that story. One time's one fairy tale he had counted. Now, that tale's in the shadow of was walking. To the tower when it arrives, the weather it had become even colder. The stones between prophet accumulated algae, ice, with crystals was frozen. Einar held out his hand, one stone over. When you put it, it's like that stone through resonant one heart shot, he felt. So, really, this stone's one thing whispers, saying, he thought. Maybe his mother, what he said like every stone in the north, one spirit there was. The tower to the bottom, small one camp set fire. Burnt flames crackling in the dark resonant voice. His hand while warming, your lips old one lullaby. He sleeps, mountains sleep, wind of the night in your eyes, light there is. His words seemed darkness into, at that moment the wind also mixed, that melody repeated. Whisper-like, then more obvious, one sound, flame behind, spoke. The wind son of. Einar started. He reached for his sword, lay down, but the voice was neither threatening nor unfamiliar. It was very evocative. One your dream, familiar from within an echo, like. It's in your blood, of the north fever, there is, he said voice. Ice under way, you must find the stone, the way you waiting. The flame suddenly trembled, then faded away. Darkness collapsed, but the sky shone, north lights, green and purple lines in sky was painting. Those lights as if movement does, slowly, one shape Einar was taking. His eyes, he had held, his breath had held. For one moment sky, huge one figure silhouette drew. In his hand with lightning shining a spear holding an existence. The wind's name, said that figure, wake up. And the lights went out. In the morning first with its light woke up. Fire ashes it had cooled down, but stones between one thing was shining. It approached. Ash in silver one wind talisman lay. In a spiral shape in the middle one sign. Runes the meaning of full couldn't solve, but to your heart touching one feeling, there was, this journey, just mine, not. At sunrise, of the north sky became clear. To the tower last times looked at the tower, on your walls, in the morning, in the light of difference to be done difficult patterns. When he got closer, the room stones of one part of line-up, significant is difference made. One circle, his around 4 lines, one windrose, and in the middle, one word, Nord, north.
Suddenly, difference did that wind now, only one direction won. It was a call. The north called him, was calling. Maybe there the prophecy, second part of, was hidden. Einar starts walking. He started. Road, ice to the river was twisting. His steps, cracking, wind your hair was swinging. For a moment stopped, his head to the sky lifted, and whispered, "Where are you taking me? If you are calling, there I will come." And wind, as if him reply gave, soft but net one with a hum, the east ice to the land of. Einar, on his way continue did, what from his past, one trace of what is to come, one promise was carrying any more. Just the wind to your voice he was trusting. That night, the frozen river, on the edge camp, the sky clear stars was quiet. His fire didn't burn, this times. Only your hands your knees between took, his eyes closed, and listened to the wind in a woman's voice there was. Soft, distant, but real. "Einar," he said, "you only walking, you are not. Wind you traces, stone you protects, water you purifies. But fire, fire you tests." Einar therein one breath took. In the dark, his eyes without opening reply gave, "Who you are I don't know, but promise I give. The way I will find the stone, the way." And at that moment, the wind direction changed, from the east blowing, hot, strange, one weather brought, as if a border was on the verge of now. Your eyes when it opens, on the horizon, one sparkle saw. Frozen the river beyond the darkness, inside red, one glare, there was. Maybe one camp fever, perhaps the thing more ancient. Einar stands up, he stood up, and drew his sword to your waist put it on, and of the north your silence behind leaving, to walk started. Wind him follow up in that night, the stars even, did not speak. The lighthouse light, third night along the sea on burning, as the wind fades direction changed, the softness coming from the east breeze its place of the north's cold to your breath he left. That night, the waves now, song not saying, just was humming. As if see even one thing's Caelon on the top of the lighthouse he was waiting, on the floor, stone on the balcony he stands, his hand your eyes over trench made, north to the horizon was looking. There, the sky as if with ice covered, a mirror, it was like, stars breath, wind, it was painful, but Caelon's inside chilling thing, the sky in the middle, that strange thing that appears glow, green and blue lights, in this state dance he said, one strip, Els in your language to this, Caelon, they would say, the night a levy. Old legend according, those lights only the harshest of winters in their time, not the same in time, Destiny Acres was also visible at the point. Caelon to those lights while looking through deep echo past. They're calling you, he said, one sound, wind together. Whose voices didn't know, maybe own your mind was an echo, perhaps more old, one thing, whisper. The morning comes, sea was quiet, but on the horizon, north grey fog between, black shadow appeared. Long and thin one shape, as if steeped in one tower, or giant, one the mast. Caelon his spyglass took it, looked, shadow movement was doing. The waves above filtered, it was like,
but none it didn't sink, as if the water above was walking. Old signs, muttered. Years before his father him he explained, the sea above walking shadows, north, ice, of they are their masters. If it comes, destiny varies, either sea freezes. Caelon, this sign, ignore, he couldn't come. That night Lighthouse to his assistant deposit made, old one fisherman, the one which, to Taurin and itself small to his boat got in. The sea that morning pine-like was calm, the wind even, was quiet. But to the north, as we get closer weather, the sky has changed. Laden one colour returned, seagulls suddenly direction changed, moved away.
Hours passed. Shadow now more, it was clear. Now the water in the middle rising, one ice island, it looked giant upright walls like. Above with fog covered, around broken ice masses was returning. Caelon, his boat slowly there directed. The ice wall when the wind approaches voice changed, now only buzzing, not as if words there was, in Caelon, Eldedwen's son, back, return. At that moment his heart quickly threw, nobody your name like this. He didn't say it, that old surname, only elves, he knew. A moment back to return thought, but then Elwing soared into his hand light. The darkness he fires, he said, he whispered, but light, the carrier. There must be a shadow, too. Little boat ice, a narrow one next to it into the crack inserted, boards crackling, sea was swelling. Foot stepped on at the moment from ice, one echo rose. Almost the island itself breath was taking. Ice intra-blue with lights was full, veins like thin lines, as if it was alive, like movement was doing. As we moved forward, the ice on its walls shapes, he saw, the ancient elven faces, or their memories was it? Some crying, some was smiling. One of them whereas spoke, Isel Menel's son, your breath with him one. Caelon, his hand to the wall put, ice under one heat passed in your palms. At that very moment on the ground from cracks, blue one flame rose. Ice rose from gold up true, split, and one passage opened. The passage beyond, a long, narrow corridor there was. From the ceiling, drops falling. Every drop to the ground when it falls, echo, one melody, like Caelon was growing taller. The lamp lit, flame light ice, inside breaking, 1,000 colours crystals like was shining. The corridor finally opened, big one lounge. From the ceiling, stalactite, ice, columns, it was like in the middle whereas one throne stood, completely ice. Throne above, one figure sitting, tall, pale, face in the shade. His clothes, the sea deep, her hair was silver like was falling out. But eyes, stars, it was like. Finally you came, Lantern, the guardian, said that figure. His voice is neither male nor female, neither distant nor close. He knows me, are you? Caelon, your knees over-collapsed. No, but you in my dreams, I heard the wind in the song of the wave in your heart. Figure his head, I am Aurenel, the keeper of the north, sealer
See, the sky between the door, I am the watchman. Centuries before, Ilmenel's crystal from the sea issuer, from the masters, I was one. Now, that crystal is yours. With your breath I lives. Caelon, in surprise, listened. Crystal, Ilmenel, so that light only the lantern not? Yes, he said, Aurenel. It is the angel of the heavens from your heart falling one is apiece, and its light is weakening. If before it fades away, before again, if not fed, the seas into the darkness, is buried. So what will be fed? Caelon asked. Aurenel, his hand lifted. Ice through blue one flames swelled. You're with your shadow. Caelon flinched. A shadow? Yes, how much light the brighter the shadow Ilmenel is deep. Heart, you're essential, he wants it. To protect if you want, a piece of you should leave it, or the lantern light goes out. Caelon, his heart fell silent. In two divided, it was like. On the side to the stars extending light, on one side own existence. At that moment, in the lighthouse, sailors in the dark directionless will stay saying thought. And finally, his head lifted. Then take the light. Bless my shadow. Aurenel, his hand, he extended his fingers. Ice like one fog rose. Caelon, to your chest touched. One at moment breath cut off, as if lungs was frozen.
The ice through, one glare appeared, Caelon's shadow of a flame like rose. Aurenel his hand into took, and crystal one to the sphere imprisoned. At that moment the hall trembled. From the ceiling stalactites cracked, ice broke, but Aurenel's voice, all noise above, echoed. Go now, to the sea sun of the lighthouse light, one times more will rise. But remember, every light, one cost there is. Caelon, staggering, back withdrawn. The corridor through in passing, ice walls behind closing, blue lights was fading away. Finally, outside when you come out in the morning, it had happened. Sun, ice island of to the edge, shooting, crystal sparkles, water was dancing on it. At that moment, in one lack felt, shadowless remained, one your body coldness. But your heart deep inside, a light was burning. Small got on his boat. Wind was behind the lighthouse. Direction, now of the north from ice, one memory and Caelon was carrying, a times more own, silent, on your journey returned. Morning, grey one with silence born. Sea, ice like was calm. The waves, breath to take forgot. Caelon was like little on his boat. In the north, blue steam inside heavy was advancing. The sky, lead color with clouds was covered, but the sun, pale one thread, faintly on the horizon, one line every shovel was leaving at the blow of water, inside resonant one buzzing was hearing. As if ice under, still one heart was beating. A while then, north mists behind remainder ice island completely out of sight disappeared. Caelon, on your chest, still of that moment cold trace, there was ice lord Aurenel's touch. And now the boat to the edge, when you look at the water on the surface, own reflection could not see. Pupils, he reached out his hand to the water, the waves your hand didn't swallow, just passed. Shadowless, he said, whispered on to himself. Now, light, me too, will hold on one place. There are no more. This with words together from the sea one breeze, the wind passed the lantern direction, Caelon was rowing the oars again. Understood, and to the southwest, Eleanor to the lighthouse, true path took. The lighthouse silhouette on the horizon, when it appears, the air, the sky had become heavy. Pale one silver tone wrapped up, as if sun, even the lantern to the light respect, heard from shining Tauren was hesitant. Caelon's assistant outside he was waiting. The old man from afar, Caelon when he see, joyfully hand shook, but Caelon's in your eyes, called, him stopped. Sir, where were you? 3 days past, wind from the north the lantern was humming, light, changed to blue, returned. Caelon, reply, didn't, silently. Stairs came out, the lantern to your heart, headed. Crystal still was shining, but now another, one in the past. Pale, soft one light while giving, now deep and cold one navy blue, it was burning. As if inside, one another breath, one another spirit. Caelon, his hand crystalline over when he put it, one shudder, felt. You, now from me more, you are alive, he said. Crystal whispered to him response, gives like sincere one buzzing took it out. That night later, the lantern light changed. Now, sailors with his hand this light as shadowless flame to commemorate, they started. In the past, warm, yellow one light, that beam, now blue-white, it was burning, but it was stranger's. Was this new light in storms even the fog doesn't go out through passing, bypath was showing. Sailors' prayer while his hand their maimed tells became Eleanor's watchman, shadowless man, light, son of Caelon. This lyrics when he hear, angle he smiled, because now he light, not the shadow the price was carrying.
At night, to your notebook to write, continue on the new page of his notebook. Like this wrote, tonight light more sharper, more deep, it burns. With every shine in my heart, one thing decreases. But sailors safe, their way. Maybe the light's real meaning, this is, from yourself to give up. Later, pen from your hand, he left it in his hands. Looked, used to hot the one which, hands now was pale. Her nails, 6 ice to the blue turned, veins silver-like, it was shining. Like ice. Breath still was inside. The wind, the lantern from the window inside when you enter, a melody. Caelon brought that melody, recognized. His mother lullaby. Silveren, Elenemelumen omentielvo. But this time's lullaby, sad, it wasn't. As if from far away, one consolation, a thanks. At that moment, Caelon shook his head to the sky lifted. The stars between the north green lights one times more appeared. Aurenel's voice with the wind together came. your shadow, your light cost happened. But know that the shadow is also a type, is light, only a different one face. Caelon closed his eyes. At that moment, understood that now not a person, a border. Would the night, during the day, by the sea, the sky, with mortal legend, standing one existence. Time progresses, bay people the lantern, next to come afraid. It happened. Because Caelon, sometimes daytime, even they couldn't see the lighthouse. On top of the light, behind silhouette like a presence would stop, but sometimes, that silhouette none was invisible. Only month when born, stone stairs in the shadow of 1 foot voice would echo. One night, small one child, the lantern under came from the sailors, heard the story, verify he wanted it. In his hand, small one seashell there was. Lighthouse-keeper, he called out. This shell to you, I brought it. My father's ship, your light thanks to, ashore reached. One duration, silence happened. Then, the lantern from the top, soft one sound came. Thank you, I do, little sea sun. The child his head lifted, but anyone couldn't see. Just the lantern light, it shone even brighter. At that moment, the child difference made. Light inside one face there was, smiling, but shadowless one face. That day on, later, Eleanor the lighthouse, only one path demonstrator, not one type sacred place, into arrived. Sailors there, without stopping by on the road, impasse happened. The lighthouse under stone number plate over one writing engraved. Caelon Elduin, light of the shadowless man, carried his shadow left. The wind with him, the sea his name whispers. And every night, the lantern light the sea above when you reach out. A seagull from above, filtered, a melody with the wind together echoed. Elenia, Elenia, Mori Lumena. Caelon, now there is not, but in the wind his breath in the light. His shadow, there is. He is now a one guard, not one balance has been. Light carrier of the shadow, eternal, friendly.
The lighthouse light of the night in the darkness lying down, the sea all ready to silence was buried. Wave sounds from afar, as if one another the world, it was his breath-like was heard. Caelon's shadowless existence, now over land, even though it is not visible, the light deep down, one life. The sea was created by him, absence, even if he feels the light with traces, new one rhythm was learning. One day from the lantern, spreading blue, navy blue light of the sea in the depths of darkness by breaking one path opened. This road, water under one city was giving birth to stones, moss, and with coral-covered domes shell, and sea from window made one city. Light is on every street of the city, shining waves, underways was illuminating. Fish and sea creatures of light around one dance had started. Music, water in depth, echoing in silence was talking. The city at the entrance of the sea from the shell carved one door there was. The door above, in old elvish letters, one writing was engraved. With light the born, shadow is the one who leaves the sea, and with the wind, one dead the way, the one who knows your name whispers this. Caelon's shadowless body, this the city on the border appeared. What face had neither body nor one energy, one light and one coldness? But sea creatures him immediately recognized. Fish, giant sea turtles, and from corals consisting of small beings, light behind, one strength had felt. Caelon, the city in the middle, rising big to the dome-headed. Dome, sea from crystals made, each own inside tiny one sun like was shining. In the middle, giant one swimming pool, there was water pure, and deep inside own reflection to see, possible, it wasn't. Shadowless man, hands into the water he extended it. Water with his touch trembled, and the pool through one light beam rose. That moment the city came to life. Dome inside, lights the road shone open, stones from its place played. Sea creatures own between them communication passed. One rhythm, one order was born. Caelon opened his eyes closed and deep one breath took. In one peace there was, but same in time one sadness. Shadowless, to give him the human form had lost, but see him one price had paid, new won the world creation ability. Caelon's breath, light and spirit, this 6 cities in your heart had merged. Now city only stone and from coral consists of, was not, living one being, one consciousness was carrying. The deepest part of the city in the corner there was one door, ice blue with crystals covered on old runes processed. The door in front of the sea, old from their gods someone stood. Long, moss-covered, one body, eyes, depths, much darkness. Caelon him looked. I, shadowless, one, I am the watchman, he said. My light, you hear, brought. God smiled, but on his face one strangeness. There was, this will do someone I was waiting. Light and shadow, balance, only one positive buy can be established. You, the light the price you paid. Now, this under of life protector, it's you. Caelon, his voice when he heard, Heartland again shivered. This feeling in the lighthouse that night he lived was an echo. I, just one, I was a watchman, he said. But now, another one, my thing. God his head he nodded. Yes, you are shadowless, but life you are full of light. And shadow balancing won the bridge, and see, from now on like this your breath will throw. That moment Caelon's light to every corner of the city spread. Crystals shone, water, mosses moved dance, fish, sea turtles, and from corals consisting of small assets, one with rhythm his around returned. Shadowless man, one care, the sea heartland had happened. But every light like this power is also only it was temporary. Caelon the lighthouse light to continue for, own from his soul parts to give, had to. Every night, water under with the city uniting, own shadowless energy the city to its heart was leaving. At night the city in its memory awakening, underwater wind and waves, it's your breath whispers, fishes, light with its rhythm movement does, mosses and corals, silent one symphony. Caelon was forming now over land, can't walk, can't face from the sea he couldn't see. But the light was there, existence of one proof. One day a group sailor, the lantern next came. Eleanor's light them had directed them. City couldn't see, but the sea in the middle shining one blue light beam difference they did. Sailors, shadowless, Adam's blue, he said they named it. Light, lost shadows balancing one path demonstrator had become.
The night silence, water under in the city different, one with rhythm echoing. Crystals shining, algae waves with its rhythm dance, fishes waters through in passing, light waves was breaking. Caelon, Shadowless with his body, the city in your heart, big, the pool on the shore was standing. Pool, deep and pure with water, was full. Of water the surface with the sky united like shiny. One, it was a mirror. Suddenly, water from the depths, one vibration came, light but sharp. Caelon, his hands into the water extended, waves with his touch, shivered. And at that moment, the water from the depths, old, one sound rose. The watchman, the shadowless man, our breath with you. Sea spirits appeared. Long, thin their bodies, moss and with corals covered, eyes depth much darkness, the one which beings. Silent, one with the symphony they approached, each movement of the pool on the surface one vibration was creating. You. The light, the price you paid, said the oldest soul. His voice, waves with its humming were merging. Shadowless, you did, but ours with our breath, you can unite. The sea heart, your with your presence, throwing, now. Caelon, his head bowed. I was a guard, but this city, this life, not him to protect, the sea integrate, light continue, to me falling, one duty happened. Spirit lightly into the water touched, one wave Caelon's your body wrapped. One at the moment, without shadow, the man inside, one heat, it spread. As if the sea took its breath, his to your body, he blew. And at that moment Caelon understood. Only light, not. The same, in time, water, his breath too, one part of had happened. The pool in the middle, colossal one door appeared. The door, the sea with crystals covered, old with runes, there, said the spirit. The sea old heart, there crystalline real power, there is. Caelon, my name through water under city to silence, covered in seaweed, corals and fish, his your way opened. The door in front when it stops, deep one breath took. His eyes closed, the light energy, bodiless, every particle of your being worked. Door slowly, it's opened. It's dark inside, but it's dark. One life, it was full. There, old sea monsters' shadows there was, long, curvy their bodies, water through passing, crystal light, under was shining. Each monster, old times from the legends, jumped out, it was like. Their heads with shells covered, eyes with pearls full of breath, water inside, melodic one buzzing, was creating. Caelon deep one breath took, the crystal true progressed. Crystal, water in the depths hanging, own energy by spreading round, blue with one light, was filling. Shadowless the man, hands, crystal touched. One at the moment, in the city, all this trembled. Crystal, a energy explosion, like shone, and Caelon's in your mind, one image appeared. All sea, one live, like every wave, every current, every breath, one rhythm. The sea is a being, city that being heart, and crystal, your heart's center. Of soul's voice again came. Now only God, you are not. You are the sea, you are the breath. Crystal, the power, your will connected. But be careful, the sea, sometimes gentle, sometimes is merciless. His breath, wrong if you use it, you can also spoil life.
Caelon, his eyes opened it. I understand. The sea breath, my responsibility. That moment, water under city one times more became active. Algae dance meet, fish light with its rhythm coordinate happened. Crystal's one symphony Caelon was creating. The crystal above lifted, water energy in their hands gathered. And one at a glance understood this power, only one orientation was not, the same in time one creation, and no, don't was his talent. Night as we move forward, the sea from the depths whispers came, old batik ship's souls, lost sailors, ancient creatures, all of them crystalline light under peace finds, but same in time Caelon's power test, each of them difficulty, his will strengthened, every breath the light and water balance provided. The night finally Caelon, the pool to the edge sat down, crystal touched, energy waves in spread in the city, all life, one with rhythm rapport provided. Now only the lantern light, there was no sea in the depths of city. It's with its breath living, light and shadow balance continues with every wave Caelon's existence was remembering. And sky, water on the surface when reflected, stars his existence approvals like shimmered. Shadowless man, sea was his breath. Now, the lighthouse light, Eleanor's from the peak, one column like the sea stretches out, the night had accepted, but Caelon's shadowless body, only the lantern above, not water under the city, one in the heart, two energy was emitting. Crystalline, the power of the sea with its rhythm united, all waves and currents one symphony had transformed. That night, Caelon deep one breath took. Quiet storms, it's coming, he said, old sea souls, on the horizon lost ships waking up. You're the light, them waiting. Shadowless man, lantern from the top to the sea looked, far away horizon line, blurry, and it was dark. The waves were deep in the sea, one silence hiding, wind almost there was no, but Caelon knew that silence the storm was a harbinger. Crystal, blue navy blue with its shine was burning, his energy of waves under lost ships trace to find, it was enough. His eyes closed, his breath into the water confused. And one at a moment, the sea from the depths, old ships' silhouettes appeared. Shipwreck, moss-covered for years unseen sails. Each ship, a story. Some trade, it was a ship loaded with goods sunken, some whereas warship, long time before, one in the storm lost. Caelon, crystalline with its energy, water intertouched, every ship one light beam, like shone in the sea, in the depths one path showed. Silent storm was approaching. The horizon line seemed giant, one darkness war like rose. The wind, there was no. but waves rising, one melody reminiscent humming. Caelon was spreading the lighthouse's light into the water, directed, crystal, its power to the waves. Every wave of light with its rhythm movement is lost ships as if was waking up. One sailboat, seaweed and seashells, with their covered aspect water to the surface. Caelon approached, his hands into the water dipped, finger from the ends. Blue energy came out of the ship's direction, corrected. The sea, it's with his breath together movement does. Lost ship, silently the lantern to the light true was progressing. Other ships also appear. It started, different in times lost, all own their stories. Caelon was carrying the crystal with the power of them, each other tied, one corridor, light, waves under lost souls guide happened. But silent storm was approaching. The sky was darkened, the sea one leprosy like waves, water through whispers was rising. The watchman, his light grove, storm, quiet, but deadly. Spirits, Caelon's warning in your mind rang.
Waves were normal, more fast movement. Shadows of the water in the depths was moving. Caelon, the crystal, into the air lifted. One blue column the waves rose. The column around returned. Energy with its rhythm rapport provided. Lost ships of light with the guidance of trustworthy, one to the corridor directed, but storm. Them will tear to pieces was in power. Caelon, the lighthouse to the top rose. His eyes closed and deep one breath took the crystal with its energy, the sea control, to do began. Waves his with his will, the wind slowed down, silence waves to the rhythm confused. Silent storm, as it were one shadow like, around wrapped. But Caelon's light, it back pushed. The sea is his with his breath, movement. Every wave was lost. Ship's sails corrected, them trustworthy, one to the corridor had directed. Shadowless man, sea with his heart were united. The crystal, its energy, increasing, silent the storm to balance. It was enough. But this power, free, it wasn't. Caelon's bodiless spirit of light and water between thin one line, on every wave stood there. Energy absorbs, every lost ship his your breath request. But Caelon closed his eyes. Close, deep one breath took. His duty knew. Storm, slow dispersed. On the horizon, lost ships trustworthy one in this way, sail opened, the sea was calm. Caelon the crystal, again the pool in the middle placed. Light, blue, dark blue, with its shine waves into leaked. In the city all sea creatures, one with rhythm, echoed. Shadowless man, water under the city on the edge sat down. The crystal, in his hands, between trembled. The sea, it's with his breath, together was beating. Quiet storm was gone. Disappeared ships, now it was safe. But Caelon knew that the sea always knew one storm would create. And that night, the sea, the lighthouse, and shadowless guard between one rapport born. Of the night's silence, lost ships, song, moss and corals dance. Everything is blue, navy blue, one symphony transformed. Caelon, with his light, the sea or breath control who had one presence. The lighthouse light of the night in the darkness stretching out to the sea, beware, but awake stood.
Caelon, shadowless, with his body this under the city in your heart, crystalline. It was next to him. Crystal, blue, navy blue, with energy shining, every creature in the city and moss-owned to the rhythm. But that night, the crystal, the normal, different in this way, was shaking. Energy, restless and deep one connotation, was spreading. Caelon, your hand's crystal extended. With his touch, one echo came. This echo of water from the depths rising, and ancient in the language, one message was whispering. The watchman. Of the light behind shadows, there is ancient power, waking up, paying the price. If you don't know, the sea, you swallows. Shadowless man, his eyes closed, his breath into the water mixed. Crystal, its shine increased, and this undercity one times more trembled. Mosses dance, meat, fish, light, with its rhythm movement did, but one thing's, the city was different. Before none not feeling one with tension was filling up, one shadow, the deepest part of the sea from the points was rising. That moment, sea calmness lost. Waves fast one rhythm rose, water inside old, one creature appeared. Huge, shell, and coral covered, one snake eyes, depth much darkness, breath, water was shaking. The ancient creature, the crystal next progressed. With every move, this wave seaweeds was thrown away. You, the light, you are the watchman, whispered old creature, voice waves, with its humming were coming together. For years I woke up. Crystal, power, I felt the price, pay a person in front of me. Caelon, deep one breath took, the crystal understood, and energy. Waves controlled to do tried, but the snake was in the water, own with its rhythm movement does. Energy breaking, crystalline power test, was doing. You don't know me, he said Caelon. I am shadowless, light and water breath with me. The sea to protect for, I am her. Snake slowly came closer, his eyes, crystalline, in its shine burned. Shadowless, light, behind only strength. No price. There are mortals short the anger of the elves long, peace. You, both you combined, but cost yet, you didn't understand. Caelon crystal above raised, blue navy blue energy, water, inside one corridor created. The snake, this corridor towards, progressed. With every move energy trembled, moss and corals one symphony-like echoed.
Silence collapsed. Caelon, water under in the city, all energy crystal guided. Every breath, every wave, every light beam of the snake with its progress balanced. Crystal, only one strength source, not the same in time one balance element, is Caelon realized that the light real power, only to direct, not the same in time except shadows too, was to do. Snake, deep one with a humming sound back withdrawn, but a warning left. Ancient shadows will wake up. The sea old powers, your light will test. Caelon crystal the pool in the middle placed. Energy in the city waving, moss and corals dance makes the fish light with its rhythm compatible halo was bringing. But without shadow the man intra, it was bitter sweet. The price felt. Every light beam, its own from the energy one piece was taking, each guard, one wood means was coming. The night progressive at hours, sea calmed down. But on the horizon, old batik ships and moss-covered rocks among ancient shadows appeared. Crystal, a warning like shone. Caelon, the light and water with his breath them control to do prepared. Each shadow, old one the creature is lost one your soul, and forgotten one legend trace was carrying. Caelon, shadowless with his body, crystal understood. and light with its rhythm waves directed. Shadow and light between thin one-balance wolf. Ancient creatures progress slowed down. Lost ships trustworthy to the corridors. The sea guided him with his breath. Compatible one in this way trembled. Every wave, every moss, and fish, his was under control. The night finally, the sea and city to silence buried. Crystal blue navy blue with its shine Caelon trembled. His hands water into stung, energy waves felt. Ancient shadows back withdrawn, lost ships it was safe. But Caelon knew that the light and shadow balance continually one war meant. Silent storms and ancient powers always back would return. Shadowless guard, water under the city on the edge sat down. Crystal, in his hands between was shaking. The sea breath with him together throwing moss and coral's rhythm follow up fishes, light to your symphony accompaniment was doing. And sky, water on the surface when the stars shine, his struggle approvals like sparkled, crystalline secret exposed, ancient shadows had appeared, had woken up, and Caelon, now only guard not, of light and shadow one existence had happened.
The horizon was dark blue, navy blue with its tones woven, sea silence, one tension, like was carrying the lighthouse light. Eleanor's from the peak long one column aspect extends, but this night was different. Caelon, shadowless, with his body the lantern on top standing, crystal in their hands was trembling. Deep in the sea, in your heart, one movement felt, silent storm, ancient creatures approaching, was waking up. This storm, his heart, he said, sea spirits. Shadowless man, light and shadow exam begins, the deepest part of the sea forces waking up. Caelon, crystal into the air raised, blue, navy blue energy, lantern with its light coming together, the sky and the sea, it's with its breath synchronous it was happening. But from deep inside, one buzzing rose, old creatures, shadows to water to the surface, reflected waves, one rhythm was holding on. Suddenly, huge one sea snake, water through jumped out, with shells covered, long body covered with seaweed covered arms, and deep black with his eyes, the storm energy was carrying him. Follow up, who other creatures of water under the city old batik ships, with the remains shadows emerging, in colossal one strength was forming. Caelon, deep one breath took. The crystal grasped, his hands coming out energy waves, one shield-like, wrapped. Shadowless, I can be, he said, own to himself. But light and shadow balance, mine in my hand. Storm exploded, waves to the sky rose, water through coming out creatures, light with its shine clashed. Caelon, his hands widely opened, crystal energy waves, giant sea snakes attack prevented. With every blow, water one noisily trembled, moss and corals collision, rhythm reflecting, fish running away, but of energy to your dance rapport was providing. Balance you must protect, whispered old souls. Each light beam of shadow it is the equivalent of. Wrong one movement, only you not, all the sea affects. Caelon, his eyes closed, his breath to water to the rhythm mixed. Crystal, energy, waves, creatures, and the storm one symphony like directed, but at every moment, without shadow, with his body was on the border, the light energy of the shadow with the power of conflicting, him test was doing. The sea in the middle, old one war his ship ruins rose. Ship, moss and with shells was covered,
but the spirit within you is still awake. In the storm to the energy opposite was resisting. Caelon, the crystal on board, directed. Blue, navy blue light, spirit envelops the energy to balance was working. At one moment, the ship through Old One captain figure appeared, eyes empty but spirit still strong he was. "Don't lead me, watchman," he said. Captain, voice the storm with its humming were coming together. "The sea, old power, you can't use it." Caelon, deep one breath, the sea I protect, lost souls, peace of mind to ensure, for I'm here. Crystal, its shine increased. Water in the depths, energy waves, a corridor created. Captain figure and other creatures of light under the guidance of trustworthy one direction directed. The storm, its heart was concentrated. Huge waves, shadows, and water energy united. Sea one war to a field had transformed. Caelon, the crystal into the air lifted. Energy to the sky, to the sea, and the lantern to the light spread. Shadowless, with his body integrated. Light and shadow, with its breath synchronous, happened. Ancient sea monsters was attacking, but Caelon's energy, them directing the storm to balance was working. Each collision, his borders pushing each light beam with shadows were coming together. The sea, with its breath, is beating. The storm heart, now shadowless the man, was under control.
Night, as the storm progressed, slowed down. The waves returned to normal, ancient creatures back withdrawn. Crystal, blue navy blue with its shine, Caelon trembled. His hands water into inserted, the energy felt. Sea and lantern, his with his breath compatible, one in this way synchronous had happened. Shadowless guard of the lighthouse on top stopped, the sky, the water on the surface twinkling, stars his bellicose your soul approvals. It was like the storm's heartland was gone. Disappeared ships, ancient creatures, and the sea, all energy now, it was safe. But Caelon knew that the light and shadow balance protect, eternal one was a duty. The sea was always new one storm would create. And shadowless man, blue navy blue crystalline next to you while standing, whispered, "Sea, light, and shadow, your breath with me. Every wave, every shadow, every star, all one symphony. And I, his guard, to be continue. I will." The lighthouse, Eleanor's at its peak quietly. The sea was calm, the sky clear stars. Water above, silver one state like was spread out. Caelon, shadowless with his body, the lantern on top stands, crystal in their hands was holding. His breath of the sea with its rhythm merging, blue navy blue light, water and the sky was combining. Night along experienced silent storm, ancient creatures and lost by ships full, the one which wore. Now its place, peace. Crystal had left, slowly vibrating, energy, waves, and the wind with its rhythm compatible. One in this way, Caelon spread his hands, into the water dipped. Finger from the ends coming out, energy of the sea, your heart caresses, like spread. The horizon is pale silver with light shone. First star, elves in your language, Alenia, stars his mother. Again Caelon had appeared. His head bowed, his eyes closed, and deep one breath. Everything, local in its place, he sat down.
he said whispered own to himself. Sea, light, and shadow. Your breath now compatible. Crystal, your hands between, light one heat spread. Caelon, this energy by feeling, long is time expected one awareness reached. Shadowless to be, just light energy controlled to do not, the same in time own inside acceptance. Ancient creatures, lost ships and silent storms, all his internal balance test had done. And now, with the sea, with the lighthouse and with the sky, full one was in harmony. Caelon, crystal, the pool in the middle placed, blue navy blue light, water inside one Aga transformed. Fish, algae and corals, light with its rhythm compatible, one in the sway movement did, the sea depths, shining one symphony. Each wave had transformed into a lantern with its light, ancient energies are uniting. Peace, inside silent one in this way was flowing. On the horizon, lost ships trustworthy, one in this way, sail had opened. The waves, the rhythm of the storm now completely past Caelon, was showing the lighthouse on top while standing. Horizon to the line looked at the stars. His efforts approvals like the sea was sparkling. Crystal and sky between harmony, now full, literally was provided.
Namaria, he said. Caelon whispers like, stars, with you, let it be, and you with me. Crystalline, the shine of water on extended silver path along slowly disappeared. See, the wind became quiet, light. One murmur transformed. Caelon, his hands from crystal drew, shadowless body, now only one guard knot, of light and shadow unity into had arrived. The lighthouse in his room sat down. Crystal next to your notebook was looking. Pages, waves, and salt traces of wild carrying, Caelon pen into your hand took, and to write started. The sun is rising over the black mountains behind last light while giving. The sea and sky rapport inside flowing. Silent storms past ancient creatures back, crystal light, and shadow with its rhythm shining. Lost ships, safe in the corridors sail, I, shadowless guard, as light and shadow unity I protect. The sea, the stars, and lantern, all one symphony. And I, this symphony, I am the watchman. That night, Caelon, the lantern on top, for hours sat down. The waves humming, crystalline light vibration and starshine between one rapport there were. His eyes when he hung up, his mother's Quenya lullaby in your ear rang. Siliveran, siliveran, Eleni lumen o menti elvo. And Caelon, deep one peace he felt. Now shadowless, to be just one lack, not see, and with light united one whole, was the symbol. Horizon lines slowly enlightenment began. First morning light of the sea, and the lantern above gold one path Caelon was drawing. The crystal next take deep one breath took, to the sky by looking whispered, Namaria. The stars in the shadow of now peace there is. Sea, lighthouse,
and the sky, its with his breath synchronous one this way glittered. Disappeared ships on the horizon's sail opened, silent storms had passed. And Caelon, shadowless, but all as long your journey, finally drink peace, reunited.